Hi everyone, it's Michael Citron with our Ask Michael Monday. This is episode 21. Pleasure to have former Parkland Mayor and current Broward County Commissioner Michael Udine. Thank you for finally coming on our show here. It's our 21st episode, and wanted to introduce you and tell us a little about yourself for people who don't know you, and maybe say something that people don't know about yourself.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always fun to come and talk with you throughout the year and whenever. I'm Michael Udine. I'm the Broward County Commissioner for the northwest part of Broward County. I was the former mayor of Parkland from 06 to 16. I've been living here for 20 years. This is my home. I'm intimately involved with all things in northwest Broward. I grew up, went to Taravella High School, so I'm a local high school graduate in the area. I enjoy, hanging out, being with the kids, Gators, a diehard Gator. I'm a double Gator, and I have 3 Gators in my house. So I'm a big University of Florida fan, and that's something that you can know about me that not everyone does.
I know about it.
But you know about that, though.
Well, I want to first start off that this is not a political agenda. We're going to ask, Michael some important questions. But I really thought it was time to have our questions asked to you. So, what would you tell potential families now looking to move to Parkland, Florida, as we get into our busiest real estate season?
So, Parkland and all of Northwest Broward is just such a great bedroom, vibrant community. I think that people have such an incredible sense of pride when they live out in Parkland and Northwest Broward. I kind of look at it like it's a family. Sometimes we have little fights in between with each other, but at the end of the day, we're all kind of proud to be here, and we take a lot of pride in where we live, where we raise our family. We take a lot of pride in our local sports, our local parks. We take a lot of pride in our schools. All of our schools are, very highly rated, and we have that proud feeling to be in this area.
Okay, obviously we want to discuss a little bit about what happened at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, but I want to talk about positive. I want to talk how the response from our local officials, such as yourself, the commission, students, the faculty, the city, the parents, our homeowners have really come together. Went to the march this weekend. I was amazed to see the outpouring of support from our city. I mean, I used to tell people, describe Parkland, and people would even know where our city was. And I would say it's a small city like Mayberry, surrounded by the hustle and bustle of South Florida. And now I think people are really drawn to our city because we're so close. And I wanted to get your feelings on, since we have had our tragedy at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, about the students, the faculty, our city, our commission, as well as what the homeowners who live in Parkland are now experiencing.
So that's a great question, and you had a word in there that I think is really important, and it's something that I've been saying for a while, since the horrific event. Parkland's going to now always be known for this issue that took place, but we're not going to be defined by this issue. We're going to be defined by our response to this issue, and I think that's really where we are setting the state, the country, and even the world on fire with how our community has portrayed itself. One only needs to look at our students. They are from Broward's public schools. These kids are well educated. They're well spoken. These are students that not only do they know the subject matters of school, the STEM, the science, and all that stuff, but these are drama kids that were in all of our plays are now, speaking to the world. These are student government kids, journalism kids, from the school newspaper. These are all extra things that this school has been offering to their students. As I go and I speak to people throughout the country, universally, that's what I'm hearing. They were like, when this first happened, we were like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Parkland, they've been knocked off their perch. But I think when people see the response from the students and the teachers and the community, it's taken the city to a whole new level.
I've seen it. It's amazing. I tell people that have been asking me about Parkland and they're not as familiar with the city. And I just say, look at the students speaking. I mean, they speak better than adults. I mean, they're educated. When I say it, don't you want your kids to be those kids and be able to have that leadership ability? I mean, we have some really amazing leaders that are going to run this world.
100%. I've even had some middle school kids, believe it or not, that have come up to me and have said, my parents are very scared, but I'm telling them that's the school I want to go to. I want to go to Stoneman Douglas. I want to be part of that community. And I think that says a lot. I think we have such dedicated teachers and administrators. I mean, they're unbelievable. Literally, some of them put their lives on the line for their students. And that's the attitude that these teachers have with these students. And they're a family.
We're very lucky to have the faculty that we have at our schools. I want to get into safety. I really want to talk about some questions that I've had, a lot of our viewers and just family members and friends. What is the city, county, state, and country's plan to make our schools safer for next year?
Okay, so one of the things that happened, the timing of what this was, the legislature was still in session. So the state of Florida came together in almost lightning speed and passed the School Safety Act, the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School Act. That act provides for dollars for school resource officers, dollars to harden the schools, dollars for mental health. And it's an interesting thing. We are a county school system, but we have groups now that are coming together to try and offer their expertise for these local schools. I'm seeing it all over Facebook. I'm meeting with people. They're going to do more. Each school is going to have, I think the bill says, if you have 1,000 per 1,000 students, you're going to get a school resource officer. Now, in the past, Parkland has had one school resource officer for every school. And that was the gold standard. There's a lot of cities that don't even have that because it was confusing about how these school resource officers get paid and hired. The school board only pays a portion of that. The city is responsible for getting the school resource officers. So I think next year, and I think going forward, you're going to see more police presence to calm the fears. I think you're going to see more school resource officers. I think you're going to see a hardening of schools. They said something with clear backpacks, something with metal wands that they're going to look at with some of this. I think those processes will move forward and will change, and they'll try and come up with best practices. But I think it's an all hands on deck for school safety, as it should be. I mean, the parents are demanding it. We voted in Broward County to have single point of entry for every school. And what that means is all schools in Broward County, we voted for the bond money, should have a single point of entry to get in and out of the school. That needs to be accomplished immediately because that's where everything else flows from. There must be one way in and one way to check them as they're coming into the school. So I think that's an important thing, and I think you're going to see a stronger push to get that done.
Yeah, we were talking earlier. I mean, I remember watching a movie 30 years ago. It was with Morgan Freeman with Lean on Me. It was more for drugs getting into schools years ago, and it's a true story. That was the big issue of having the schools have the one way in, one way out, where they could certainly check for any guns or knives and have metal detectors in the schools.
Whatever it is, it goes beyond that. You need if you want to have a metal detector, you're going to have one way in. That's just that by definition. Otherwise, people will walk in around it. It goes beyond even the single point of entry. Goes beyond even someone bringing something in the school. Just keep people that don't belong on the campus out, and the only way to do that is with a single point of entry. So I think you're going to see that finishing quick order.
I think schools also, like airports, is going to be the new norm to have those checkpoints because we have to be changing our ways of we live in Parkland. It's a very very safe community, and this could happen anywhere. But I think every school, starting where we are right now, needs these changes to
100%.
Now, asking about the city. Now, does the city have adequate police for our growing community? I mean, I'm a real estate agent. We see so much building going on, so many new communities being built. There'll be more communities being built. We have so much land to be developed. Is the city prepared for this?
So we, in 2005, 2006, we had 1 or 2 police zones. The city of Parkland now has 4 police zones. So they've grown the staff. The city has a force. We contract through the sheriff's office. We have approximately 40 to 45 police officers in our contingent, in our portfolio of law enforcement professionals. And that's from the captain all the way down to the officer on the street. I know the city commission at one of the recent meetings has decided to engage a consultant to really look at, we did it before a number of years ago when I was on the city commission. And there are companies that come out and they do the appropriate consulting to see what your numbers are and how it would work out. And if there needs to be an adjustment in the number of officers on the force, it's an easy thing to do. If instead of 40 you need 45, those things are things that can be done. And it will be like everything else. You live in a community where you pay maintenance. It's all about what your tax dollars will do and where you want to allocate them. We have contractual service for fire and EMS. Some of the best fire and EMS in the nation are in our city, and they'll get the police component to the level where the residents can feel comfortable with that. I'm confident of that.
Now, this independent investigation, whenever it's completed, wherever the findings are, we've seen some videos, we've seen some things come out already. What is your perspective on this investigation? When do you think it'll be ready for the public, certainly the county and the city to see it? What are your thoughts on that?
So the governor's ordered an FDLE investigation, and they're doing an investigation. Most of the agencies have ordered their own independent investigation. The school board is looking at something. The sheriff will do an after-action report. One of the things that I said is, as a county commissioner, we were really the only agency that kind of could look at this globally and holistically. I've asked the county administrator to hire an independent investigator to look at the whole thing. Where were all the breakdowns? We've heard stories of mental health. We've heard stories of school board, of police, of the FBI. Wherever it may be, I think that you need somebody to come in from the outside, an independent person with the gravitas to really put something out that people can look at. Like what we did with the airport. We did an after-action report after the Fort Lauderdale shooting. They came up with some things. Everything was on the table, and that's what I think should happen here. We need to look at to make sure we're using best practices in these cases. And we need to take out the hysteria from the media, the parents. We need factual reporting on what really happened and things that we can look at. And then we can learn where we can, make improvements to make sure that this is taken care of and this is worked on better in the future.
Okay. I think we're going to move on. I think we talked enough about it. I definitely
think so.
Well, these were questions
Right.
that a lot of people wanted to ask, and I wanted to make sure we addressed those. Growth of Northwest Broward. We talked. These were some of the questions we were going to ask when you were going to come on before the tragedy, and I think they're still very important questions, and
Yep.
our viewers still want to hear these answered. Please discuss the growth of the Northwest Broward and the economic climate, such as Amazon and the airports and Costco coming in. And
I'm really happy to do that. And on February 14th, before this incident took place, I was actually at a grand opening for Virgin Voyages. That's a new company that came out to Northwest Broward. They're in Plantation, and they're a new business. And that's really what's been the fuel of what we're seeing in Broward County. We put together a joint bid with Miami, Palm Beach, and Broward County, the different economic alliances. We made the Amazon shortlist. We're in the top. Amazon is looking at our area as one of the top areas to open their second headquarters. Now, whether we just getting into the top 20 or whatever it is really a validation of everything that we're doing here in South Florida. And we're now becoming a place where companies feel comfortable to move, to expand, to open up, and we're doing that on a very, very high level basis. And so what does that do? What it does is it brings, if Amazon was to come down to Broward, Palm Beach, or Miami, any of the three would be an absolute game changer for the real estate in Northwest Broward, because these executives are going to want to live in Northwest Broward. You're talking about high-paying jobs, great jobs, and we have the infrastructure now that can handle something like that. In addition to you have other companies that are looking here. We have one of the busiest airports in the country. We've just passed LaGuardia, or we're right close to LaGuardia. Our airport director is one of the best in the nation. We got him from Philadelphia, your hometown. Mark Gale's our airport director. Our seaport is one of the busiest seaports in the country. We're moving a ton of cargo in and out of there, and all that leads to jobs. Our tourism, Broward County's tourism is really holding its own and doing well. We have a new tourism director. Stacy Ritter is moving everything forward, and it's just a real cool vibe now with Broward County, and we're really moving all these things forward. And all that does is it adds to the cachet of Northwest Broward, South Florida, Broward. You have a lot of the financial services companies. They're coming down to escape the high tax states of the North. They're coming. I mean, they're here. They're moving their businesses here. They're moving their hedge funds here. There was one hedge fund guy from New Jersey that came to South Florida. They had to redo their budget when he left because there was so much money switching. So we're seeing it, and it's a big positive for our area.
Okay, some other things about Parkland that people have asked. Can you tell our viewers of any future building that's going on in Parkland that you know of or that's coming about in commercial or residential?
Well, I know you have things that are coming in. Coral Springs is talking about a major downtown center. They're doing a whole rehab of that corner there. Yeah. They built their city hall. There's a Costco going on the western part of town. But that new downtown area is going to have, I think it's like $150 million investment of residential, light commercial, restaurant type. So that's an exciting thing for the area. Parkland has some new developments that are coming online. They have things that are happening. The builders all want to be here. They're selling. It's one of the hottest areas. So we're seeing more and more of that. And we just have to make sure as a county and as a city, we keep up with the infrastructure as that growth comes in.
We're definitely growing.
Yeah.
The Hendricks Farm, anything new right across from Parkland Golf? I mean, that could change our city totally. Do you know of anything coming up with that? Or
the Hendricks property is always something that's kind of out there that the city's always and the county is always looking at. There's really nothing imminent or nothing major right now, but that's always something that's on there.
What do you think they'll eventually do with that?
The Hendricks property has, ways for roads to go through. Yeah. I mean, I would assume that the city would want it to be built out in a way that's compatible to what's there. I've heard stories that they want to, add into Parkland Golf. That was a rumor, maybe expand it through. There's a lot of things that can happen out there, but that's going to be a game changer for the city. And it has to be something that's monitored in a very high level way to make sure that what does come in there is compatible and within the same realm of what we're looking for in Northwest Broward. Now, when that's done, that's going to help a lot of the local restaurants and businesses and things in there because it's just more traffic that will go into those areas.
Locks Road, I mean, obviously it's a lot safer now.
Well, it's going to get even more safer because Locks Road is funded and budgeted. They're starting the improvements. I think it's in the 2019 budget cycle through the MPO, through the county, through the city. There's multiple partners there. If you go on some of the different websites, maybe the City of Parkland's website, you would see what Locks Road will look like. It's going to be one lane in each direction still, but they'll have a raised median so you get rid of that suicide feeling. They're going to have bike lanes on each side, sidewalks, and streetlights. There's going to be safety improvements. It's going to be aesthetically nicer, and it's going to be a much easier ride than what you have now.
Yeah,
it's scary.
Some people don't want to ride it at night, and we have that.
Right.
Street lights to be installed in Coral Ridge and University Drive. I've seen a lot of things told that they're going to be. I mean, I live in Parkland Isles, and after the golf, the driving range of the golf course, that's it. There's no lights, so it gets very dark, and we're concerned residents that kids and families are either up early or the streets are not lit properly for, God forbid somebody gets hurt.
That's in process with FPL to have that done. It's funny because Parkland in the past, the center part of the city, they don't really want streetlights in some cases, but we realize in those areas, and we've talked about it for a while, it needs to get done, and they're doing it. I mean, we'd like sometimes FPL and some of the things to move a little bit quicker, but it's going to happen. It's funded, it's budgeted, and they're going to move forward with streetlights there to make it, for safety reasons.
I think we asked you a lot of questions. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate what you do for our city, our county. You're a leader, and I want our viewers to know that these are some tough questions, and I appreciate you answering them, and I appreciate your continued leadership for us. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. I'm always happy to speak to anybody if they want. I'm an easy man to track down, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions.
Thank you so much.
Take
care. Have a good night.